This is Robert Martellacci, the Mindshare Learning Port, Canada's Learning Technology e-magazine, and welcome to this Dell Technologies Student-Centered blog series. And today's issue is focused on SOAR with Mentor panel conversation. Thank you for joining me today. Our panelists, we have Bhavna Sharma from the University of Toronto, Laura Conley from Queen's University. Our mentors are Naz Zara from Dell Technologies and Dennis Hoffman, also from Dell. Good afternoon, and I hope everyone's healthy and well. For our first question, we'll start with the mentees. What was your inspiration in getting involved? And over to you, Laura, and perhaps you can tell us a little bit about the program you're in.
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Laura. I am a first-year master's student in electrical engineering at Queen's. My inspiration for getting involved was actually from a former professor supervisor, Dr. Susan Aaron. She works with the faculty. We worked closely on a project last year, so she thought that this would be a good fit. And I agreed with her because most of my work experience is in academia, so I thought it would be really interesting to learn about kind of a big tech giant and what they're doing to make women more comfortable in this industry. And yeah, I thought it would be a good opportunity to network there.
Awesome. And Bhavna Sharma, who is a student at the University of Toronto, who's joining us as well. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about your program and your inspiration in getting involved in the SOAR.
So as mentioned, my name is Bhavna Sharma and I go to the University of Toronto for computer science. I'm actually in my 4th year, and my inspiration was actually one of my professors. He reached out to me and he said like this would be a really good way for me to get more involved with the real world, especially because I'm in 4th year and it's like I'm finishing off like this whole academic kind of world and stepping into the real world. So just to get to know like how it works and get some mentorship on it. And so that was my inspiration.
Thank you so much for that, Bhavna. And over to you, Naz, who's a senior analyst and sales coach at Dell Technologies. Where are you situated, Naz?
I'm in Toronto.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about your role and your inspiration for getting involved as a mentor.
Absolutely. I lead the Women in Action Professional Development pillar. Basically, what I do is create programs, initiatives, and opportunities that help develop and retain our female talent. I think Dell as a company does a really good job of creating a culture of inclusion where most of us feel that diversity, equity, and inclusion are our responsibility. And I think SOAR with Mentor is a great example of that, because this is what happens when you allow your people, your employees, to lead and innovate and be an agent of change. And my inspiration for getting involved was to really extend outside the boundaries of Dell and make a positive impact on young women who are not a part of Dell yet, but they're working their way in the STEM field or business field and looking to grow their careers.
Fantastic. Kudos to you for your leadership. And over to Dennis Hoffman, who is the Vice President of Central East Canada at Dell Technologies. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, Dennis. Your inspiration, likewise.
Great to see you. Hey, I'll tell you what I'm inspired by, and then I'll tell you my inspiration, because Naz really hit it on the head when she talked about allowing and giving the opportunity for our team to help promote diversity and inclusion, right? We have 3 women on our team, Katina Papulkas, Nikki Matarazzo, and Lisa Gillis, who started this pilot program for SOAR with Mentor that, I think was extremely successful, inspiring, and allowed us to expand this beyond Ontario universities and beyond, the cohort that we're working with today. But when we started, my inspiration really was around mentorship, right? Both as a mentee and as a mentor. It's helped me in my career. I've been here at Dell for over 21 years. And I feel like I was a little bit late to the mentor game, their mentee game, I should say, to have a mentor of my own. And I'm on this kind of journey that is promoting it because I've seen so much value working with individuals across our organization. So I wanted to give some of that back. And then in a mentor role that I've taken on more actively lately, I get a ton of value from that as well. So through this entire program, I had great dialogue with the mentees. And then I also wanted to see firsthand, how is this pilot going to work, right? How is this going to work, and how are we going to be able to scale this across the country? And it's exciting. It's a great opportunity.
Right. Absolutely. Across the country and beyond, perhaps.
You bet.
Right. And it really is a partnership, isn't it? And it's, creating that win-win and that reciprocal, that co-learning, if you will, process. So talk to me a little bit about what you've learned in that regard, and what was the most significant thing you learned, Laura?
Yeah, I think for me, as I said, like my background is in research. I work in cancer research. So part of what I was interested in learning about was what Dell does technically. I have a Dell computer. I know what Dell is, but I think I had no idea like the different avenues that they are involved in health tech. So I learned a lot about like the different sectors and kind of the different roles. I actually found it really unique. I wasn't really partnered with too many engineers. It was a lot of salespeople, HR people. So I kind of learned all the different hats you can wear in such a big company. But I think the most important thing I learned is that there is a place for women to get involved in technology, and that people have open arms and are accepting, and that people are making an effort to kind of drive up the number of women in this industry. I think that was the biggest takeaway for me, that there's a place and that people are making an effort to make sure that there's a place.
Well, that's incredibly inspiring, and kudos to you for that. We'll move over to Naz to talk about what you've learned out of this experience, and yeah.
It's been a great experience for me. I learned a lot. Katina and the team did a really good job of having a specific topic in every session. And I learned a lot from that. I also learned that I'm not the only one who's not on social media. These girls they didn't have LinkedIn profiles, and that made me feel a little better because I didn't have a LinkedIn profile till a year ago. So that was nice. But honestly, it was just wonderful meeting these bright young women. And I was genuinely surprised at the strong sense of self that they have, the confidence. And it was just refreshing to be able to meet them, learn from them, and provide, even a little bit of a guidance, I guess, in helping them start their journey into a career.
Fantastic. It really does give me hope when I see the passion and the focus of a lot of the young people like Laura and Bhavna, who are embracing the future and change and making an impact. Very different from my vintage when I was graduating and you were hoping for a job. You want to make, right? That's the real shift that I've seen. What are your thoughts on that? Dennis, you're actually quite a bit younger than me as well, so you can't relate to my experience so much, no doubt.
Oh, I think I can, Robert. Same as what Naz is saying, I learned and I was very excited about the level of talent that, is out there, and the level of passion. And to your point, folks who want to make a difference. It's one thing. And the other thing that I learned is how close we can get through these virtual experiences, right? I try to think, okay, well, what if COVID didn't happen, right? What if we weren't in these type of arrangements? Would we have come out with SOAR with Mentor? Would we have been able to meet folks from around the province? They're off at school, we're off in different locations. Would we have all been as open to connecting? I don't know. But what I really like is the level of connection that we were able to have in these virtual environments. I can say after that first session, I think I called Katina right away saying, that was amazing. I am so excited about the mentee that I connected with. And, that
Awesome.
Just happened week after week because the level of talent out there is inspiring.
Fantastic. We're going to go back to Bhavna Sharma.
Can you guys hear me? Is
We hear
it
you fine. Yes.
okay? Okay, sounds good. So actually, it actually exceeded my expectations. I was kind of just expecting like, oh, we're just gonna get some mentor just to talk to. Like, it's just gonna be like one mentor. I didn't know it was gonna be a one-on-one, first of all. And when like seeing that, it was just like they were actually genuinely like wanting to help, and that was what's really like struck me. Like that's what kind of got me because in this, I always just thought that, like it's just people just want to get involved in these kinds of clubs just for the name of it. But joining this, it really like I was shown that like people genuinely really cared about their mentees and like everyone reached out to me on LinkedIn. Well, I reached out to them on LinkedIn and they were very, very helpful. And I got a really good conversation out of them. We talked about some kind of concepts that we've learned in school and how I can relate them to the real world. And it was just amazing.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Bhavna. How has the program impacted you personally and professionally, Laura?
Yeah, so kind of to go back to what I said to the last question, I think that these kind of things it's really important for women in the field just to understand that like professionally you have a role and that you're kind of on the right path. I think I've been thinking about this a lot lately, but we know that one of the biggest problems is retaining women in engineering. So professionally, it was really amazing to see like women wearing the hats I want to wear eventually, like who have kind of gone through open those doors for people like me. So professionally, it made me feel very like wanted and also just excited about what my future career is going to be. And personally, I think there's a movie called Picture a Scientist that we watched at school like a couple weeks ago. But one of the things they noted was that every time you have a negative experience as like a woman in this industry, it kind of chips away at you. So personally, I think it kind of did the opposite. I think it helped kind of fill that glass back up in terms of what I'm excited
Wonderful.
about, re-encouraging me.
Excellent. And how about you, Bhavna? How has it impacted you personally and professionally?
So similar to Laura, like I agree with her completely. Like seeing those women wear the hats that you want to wear kind of was comforting in a way because it was like, okay, like it's possible, right? Like you see them and then it's like, okay, like I'm gonna be wanted, and it's just very like a reassuring kind of feeling. So like that's how it impacted me professionally and personally. Um, I guess like I guess just seeing these women on one of them, I've also followed her on Instagram, and one thing we talked about was like how to integrate your professional and personal lives together and how it's like becoming more of a norm these days. And so the fact that I even got to follow her on Instagram and seeing her like everyday stories and posts like kind of like made me feel like, okay, like it's not such a bad thing if I can post some personal things maybe on LinkedIn and maybe show some of my professional things on my Instagram, like kind of like integrating those lives. So just that understanding has really helped me as well.
Wonderful. And I thank you for that. And I suspect that the mentors also were impacted by each of you. So, Naz, perhaps you can share your experience so far.
I think personally, the pandemic has had a huge impact on all of us. And before, there were ways for us to go out, volunteer, do things, make an impact, give back. And I feel like that was kind of taken away from us. So this program allowed us a platform, even though it was virtual, it was still that same interaction and ability, a way to give back. And it was wonderful. And in terms of professionally, I was just thinking, how do we make this bigger? How do we get more people involved from the company and even like other schools? Let's get them involved. How do we take this to the next level? So really excited to see what the future holds for the program.
Fantastic. It's interesting to note that this online environment that we had a conference back in the fall, that the feedback we got was there was actually deep learning. And if you set this stage for success and do your homework as you have with SOAR, it can be impactful and you can have deep learning experiences. Over to you for your thoughts, Dennis.
Yeah, so you asked about personally and professionally. I'm a dad of two girls, grade 9 and grade 7. So personally, um, I wanted to get involved because I was interested in them and what they're going to aspire to be. And I hear the comments from Laura and Bhavna, and it makes me think about a blog you did recently on Girls Who Game. And one of the mottos in Girls Who Game is, if you can see it, you can be it. Right. And I think about the same thing, even personally for my girls. I want them to be able to see the opportunity in front of them. They may go down, I don't know what path they're going to go down right now, but that's the opportunity for them. And I felt the same way with the group that we had through SOAR with Mentor. It gives them an opportunity to ask questions, to see what the opportunity is beyond, university that they're in today. That's one. And then the other thing is, I got great value out of the dialogue that I had with the mentees on what it's like to be a young woman applying for some of these roles, applying for some of these jobs, how important culture is when they're thinking about the workplaces that they're going to go into.
Memorable moments. What could be improved? Did you like the formal sessions and the guest speakers, Laura?
Yeah, I think in the future it would be like amazing to do kind of have some of the networking sessions in person when that's a possibility. I think the online format, as Dennis said, was really incredible for starting it, but it would be great to make those connections in person when we can. Some memorable moments. I had a lot of great mentors. There were 4 sessions, so I actually had 5. So one of the memorable moments was one of my sessions I was with Kevin and Beth. It was like Beth worked for Kevin, and they both joined, and it was really interesting to see a very candid conversation between 2 employees who work very closely with each other. Beth got very personal about her experience as a woman in a technology company, and Kevin was incredibly supportive throughout it. So that was a really great conversation.
Thank you for that. Over to you, Bhavna. Memorable moments, any improvements? Did you like the format?
Oh, definitely, for sure. I really like the format. But yeah, like as Laura said, like I would want to meet all the people that I have met and interacted with in person as well. I think that would be amazing. And after the vaccine, hopefully after all this kind of ends, we're able to do something like that. But one of my most memorable moments is so like Laura, I also had 5 mentors, because for one of them, 2 of them were interacting on one, and one of them was Martin Piercy, and he was a really, really nice guy. Like he's one of the persons I reached out to on LinkedIn as well, and just he was really like involved in the conversation, and he gave me lots of tips on how to maybe read this book, read that book, to get into whatever field I'm kind of wanting to get into. And he was just very helpful, and so he was that was just a really memorable moment of mine.
Excellent. Naz,
I
memorable
think for
moments?
me, yeah, there were many, but I think one special one was when right after the session ended, one of the mentees reached out via email asking to set up a cadence so that we can meet more and we can, kind of build a relationship outside of just the program. So that was really interesting, and that was very special because it just kind of validates that you made some sort of an impact and you did something good.
Awesome. Over to you, Dennis. Memorable moments, and is there anything that you would tweak going forward in the future? Sounds like it was all positive, but we can always make improvements on new initiatives and innovate, if you will.
It was very memorable, very positive. I'll share one memorable moment, and then maybe something that we can incorporate as we think about this moving forward. I had a good dialogue with all of the mentees. There was one that stood out, and we were talking about what I alluded to a little bit earlier in terms of how important culture is and the cultural fit in some of these organizations that individuals and these women may be applying to in the future. And some experiences that might have been less than favorable in the past. And it made me think about some of the things that we're working on internally and how important that is. And I'll give you an example here is we're having some dialogue with our recruiters and our HR around reverse interviews. So for example, let's say Laura was interested in a position at Dell. We interview her a number of times. She's she goes through a set of interviews, but then she wants to interview somebody at Dell to understand, okay, what's the culture really like? What is it really like to be part of an employee resource group? And I actually hadn't really thought about how important that was until I had that dialogue with the mentee. And then I thought, that's why we really want to push these type of programs. So that was very memorable for me. And then the part that we may want to consider is bouncing some of these programs that we have in incubation right now with these students to get their feedback if they think that that's important in the places that they're going to be applying to.
I thank you for that. I like the notion of incubation and innovating the program and having the students or prospects have the opportunity as far as interviewing and reversing that that process is fascinating. And it is about best fit, isn't it? When it comes down to the realities of hiring, and
it really is. And, I know when I was finishing university, just getting a job with the, good pay and benefits was so important. But I'll tell you, culture is so critical to that fit that you're talking about, Rob.
Yeah, fascinating. Back over to you, Laura. You're doing so great, by the way. What impact did the mentors have on you? Do you intend to continue staying connected with your mentor?
Yeah, I think I've connected with all of them on LinkedIn, and they've all been super open in terms of like sharing that they'll be there if I ever need them in the future moving forward. And that's been really great. I think I would feel comfortable starting a conversation with any of them. But yeah, I'd say it's just been really great to like know that there are people in your corner. I've been very fortunate in my academic and professional career to have those people and to meet them on my way. So yeah, I think I will definitely not be discouraged in terms of reaching out, asking questions where I can, sharing experiences where I can. Yeah.
Fantastic. Excellent. Bhavna, over to you. In terms of the impact your mentors had on you.
Honestly, Laura answers the question so well. I wish I could just do a copy paste. But yeah, like just as she said, like I'm very open with some of my mentors. Actually, not all of them. Not all of them reached, like I connected with all of them, but not all of them responded. So a few of them, I have created like a really good relationship with them, and like I'm definitely very comfortable in reaching out to them and talking to them, sharing my experiences, getting some more help if needed, and yeah.
Excellent. Well, we're arriving at the end of the conversation here, and one last question for each of you. And what is your hope for the future? Over to you, Laura.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big question. I think my hope for the future is like aligned with what we learned in these sessions, that we're working towards like a majority or a 50-50 split between women and these positions and that kind of thing. But my other hope is that we don't just meet that number. We also have a culture where women feel comfortable coming forward if they do have negative experiences, where there's conversations, like those tough conversations about what's making people feel like that. And yeah, that younger women like aren't scared to enter this field. It doesn't become that discipline that's dominated by men. That's my hope.
Thank you so much for that. Bhavna, over to you.
For me, actually, so my dad is also in this tech field, so he's always kind of like had that like on to me as well. Like he always wanted me to also be very techy, and so I've never really felt like women don't really belong. And I know that the world is like it's been evolving and everyone's being more accepting. But seeing it also was really like solidifying and reassuring, as I said before. But for me, one like takeaway for the future that I would say is like one of the seminars was about cloud, and I was really interested in like learning about cloud and how all that works. So yeah, like that is what I see myself in the future. And I spoke to Martin as well about it, and he helped me also, like kind of directed me in like some ways to like better myself in that sense as well.
Well, kudos to you for that. Fascinating. Naz, over to you. What is your hope for the future as it relates to the SOAR program and the
Well, first of all,
mentees?
I'm just speechless with the feedback these two have provided. It warms my heart. So thank you for that. And honestly, I just hope that we can take the same message to more people, more young women, and let them know that there are, organizations and companies who are like us, who have a culture where you will feel included, you will feel welcome, you will feel valued, and it's an environment where women can truly thrive. And for this group who attended SOAR with Mentor, I really hope that they will leverage the network of people that they have created, because networking is really important. So I really, really hope they will put that into fact. And I'm just really excited to see all the amazing things that they're going to do and achieve. And I'm really hoping that I'll get to work with some of them in the near future.
Thank you so much for your kind and inspiring words, Naz. Dennis Hoffman, last but not least.
Well, great comments from everyone. I'll say a couple of things. We've got work to do on our own at Dell, and we've got moonshot goals. Our moonshot goal is to have 50% of our employees be women, and so that we're representative of the customers that we serve. We see great value in that. We want to create an environment where everyone can grow and thrive. So that's my hope, that this helps incubate that we get onto that we continue to hit that goal, and we exceed our expectations on that 2030 moonshot goal. And then the other thing that I'd love to see, and that I hope for the future here, is that we expand this. So there's talks around expanding this across the country. Robert, you even mentioned and beyond. We've seen great programs that have started here in Canada, right? Like Girls Who Game, that was started here in 2019 by Katina Popokis, and now serves 72 districts, school districts across North America. This is the same kind of thing, right? It's a great program. If we can expand it, that would be great. Expand it across Canada, expand it to other underserved groups, be a great opportunity, because I think the feedback that we've gotten, the experiences on both the Dell mentors and the mentees has been very positive, and we should grow and build on.
With that, thank you so much, panelists. That concludes our SOAR with Mentor panel conversation as part of the Dell Technologies Student-Centered Learning blog series. My name is Robert Martlanchi. Be sure to check out www.mindsharelearning.com to get your latest blog on the series and check us out. Until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep the learning curve steep.